Sega!
Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. We're going to be talking about some of my favourite Sega Saturn games. I already did a top picks video which no one watched, so I thought I'd redo it, but kind of revamp it and do it with my face. Even better. So yeah, I have a stack of games, not really a stack, more like a very little pile about that big next to me. And you know how this is going to go. I'm going to pick some of my favourite games and talk about them. And we're going to start it off with one which, bearing in mind, I'm not doing like Saturn exclusives. I'm going to do ones which obviously were ported to other systems or to the Saturn. So I'm going to start it out with Resident Evil. And personally, I think this is the best version of Resident Evil 1. Because if you've ever played it on the Sega Saturn, it has far better graphics than the PlayStation 1. I need to do a side-by-side comparison, really. There is a really good photograph or something I remember seeing on the internet a long time ago with them next to each other. And basically, in the Saturn version, you can see their face properly, and they actually have the sort of shaded arms and shaded faces. It actually looks really good on this. It doesn't look as dated as it does now on the PS1. Does that make sense? Maybe, I'm not 100% sure. But this version actually stood the test of time quite well. It's still really good now. I did do a review of it, I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did, because I said that the intro, the FMV, needs an Oscar because it's fantastic. So yeah, and it's not exactly expensive to pick up for. I think I bought it for around £10, I think, when I picked it up. But it's definitely one to own, unless you've already got it on PlayStation. I also have it on PlayStation, but this is the one I play because my PlayStation 1 isn't plugged in. I have my Saturn plugged in. Sega fan for life. Hence the intro. So yeah, definitely pick up Resident Evil 1 for your Sega Saturn. It's definitely worth it. And if you don't have a Sega Saturn, you need to buy one of those as well. Now, I have this on PlayStation 1 as well, I believe, and it's right there, so I can grab it. I was going to grab Resident Evil 1, but it's too stacked under, which is... This is the copy that worked, because I have done this review twice. Croc, Legend of the Gobos. I also own it on PlayStation. Now, if I was to pick one or the other, I'd pick the Saturn version. Now, I know there is a bug, apparently, in the loading, where he doesn't load. I did cover that in my first review of it, where he didn't load at all. Then I bought this copy, and I bought a Japanese copy. Japanese copy seems to work fine. He appears fine every time, and even when I'm trying to load it so he doesn't load properly, he still loads fine. This copy of Croc, he loads fine. I tried doing the bug loading, but it doesn't work on this one. He loads every time. It was my other copy, but there was like a difference in date, I think. I'm pretty sure there was like a half a year difference or a year difference. I don't even know. I know there was a difference in the date and the copyright between the two that came out, and this one seems to work perfectly fine. And it is an excellent platformer, probably one of the best. It's definitely one of my favourite video games of all time. I don't know why. I still love it now, and I still think it holds up. But a lot of people think it was overrated, maybe. I'm not sure, or some people say it's not as good as you remember, but every time I seem to play it, I still love it just as much as I did when I first bought it. So, Croc, Legend of the Gobos. I highly recommend it. It can be quite expensive now to buy. I don't know why. Maybe because it's in short supply. I'm not 100% sure. The Japanese version has gone up in price since I looked back on it. But if you can get a copy cheap for your Sega Saturn, definitely pick it up. Definitely worth owning. You could just buy the PlayStation 1 if you have a PlayStation and you don't own a Saturn, but... I'll pop that back up there, back on the shelf. Now, if you own a Saturn, we all know we didn't get a proper Sonic game. I'm still waiting for that Sonic game, Sega. What happened, bro? But you can get Sonic Jam, and now I'm putting this in. I know technically it's just is it up here? It's not up here. I haven't put it up there yet. It's basically the the Sega Sonic Mega Collection for the GameCube, effectively, because it's obviously all the Mega Drive games put onto this, but it lacks Sega CD, Sonic CD. Sorry guys. I think I just offended an entire race of people. But yeah, Sonic Jam, you've got all the good games from the Mega Drive on there, and they all look really crisp and nice on the Saturn, because obviously the Saturn is a 2D powerhouse and it looks beautiful. And it goes relatively cheap, it's not expensive. I think I got my copy for about $6.99 when I rebought it, so Sonic Jam is definitely one to pick up. And it has that really nice museum 3D layout, which was obviously sort of like their beta for a 3D Sonic game on the Saturn, and it looks really nice, and I think they could have done a really good job. Instead we got Sonic R, and I wanted to kill myself, so pick it up. Now, I forgot my case is a little bit loose for that. I will include both of these, because both are good. Daytona USA and Daytona USA Championship Edition. Please say I didn't do that the wrong way around. No, I did do it fine. Or Circuit Edition, should I? Oh, Championship Circuit Edition, to be 100% correct. Now these are two, well, I'll count them as one. These are one of my favourite racing games ever. Daytona USA is so good, and it has a nice cheesy soundtrack. I mean, what more can it's like that nice 90s nostalgia when you're playing it. Oh, it's so much cheese, but they're so good. Obviously this one goes for far cheaper than the Championship Circuit Edition, because obviously this was released extremely early and buggy-ish, because obviously the Saturn had its weird release where Sega just totally naffed it up. But obviously there is some frame rate issues and pop-in, but this one I play with a friend. This one I do not, because this one does not have cooperative. This one does. Maybe by the Championship Circuit Edition, but then again, you don't get the nice cheesy theme tune like you do in this one. It's all up for debate, but if anything, if you're like me, you just own both like I do, because this is my original copy, and then I bought the Circuit Edition later on. Just buy them both. They're both worth it. So much fun. I kind of want to play them now, but I think that'd be really bad in a video. I have mentioned this several times, because I'd just sit there and be like, ignoring you. That's basically what I'd be doing. Unintentional, of course, because I'd be playing some super awesome video games, and I think I hate these Saturn cases. I popped the disc out without even having to do anything. Alright. Daytona USA. Definitely buy it. I will these horrible Saturn cases. Why can't they be all nice and clamshelled like some of their releases? I will stick all three of these into one go. And now these are definitely ones you need to own, which is Panzer Dragoon 1, Panzer Dragoon 2. I'm not that good, so I have the Japanese import of the third one, but Panzer Dragoon 3, or Saga, however you want to say it, because these are three of my all-time favourite games. I know most people, growing up, we got Final Fantasy VII. I had Panzer Dragoon, which I still think is just as good. I know they're completely different games, but these games are fantastic, especially the first one. The first one is so good, and it's I think it's all to do with the gameplay and the music and the elements, everything coming together. I felt it's like a bit like an anime. It's like the only thing I can really compare playing this to something I played, sort of later on, was Shadow of Colossus on the PlayStation 2, because the music, when you're climbing the Colossus, it gets all dramatic, it's beautiful. That's how I felt when I played the very first level of this for the first time. The opening of the second one isn't as epic, but it's still just as good, it's still loads of fun, and then the third one's just amazing. Now, you'd be lucky to get these for a cheap price, because they go for a lot, I mean a lot, to the point where you may be bankrupt, because I know Saga is one of the most sought after ones, whereas the other two you can kind of get, I guess, for like £40, nearly 50, which is kind of bad. Luckily, I already had these. I didn't have this one, never had this one. I think I paid £30 for the Japanese import one, which works fine because my action replay again. So I got that kind of good, I guess, maybe. I think I did, because I don't want to pay £200 for the PAL release, so I'd recommend buying them, but if you can get them cheaper, or cheap-ish, buy them. Do not go out of your way to fork all that money, just play a ROM or something, because that's crazy, some of the stuff people are asking for them. So Panzer Dragoon, 1, 2, and Saga. Definitely pick up for your Sega Saturn. Look, my pile's got very small now. Now, when I was looking at these two, because I love the first one, but I'm not a massive fan of the second one, but I thought I'd include them both together, which is Darius Gaiden, and then Darius 2. Darius 2 being the latter. I mainly own it because it's the second one to this one, and this one is such a fantastic game. And I'm not sure which case I like more. I guess, well, Darius 2's got a nice sort of fish monster attacking the ship. And then we kind of have a similar one, which looks kind of more epic on the Japanese release of Darius Gaiden. Both fantastic games. Well, a little bit less on this one. I guess if you can get past the weird narrow look of zooming in and then having a really restricted view. I think I said it in my review, it was that sort of game which I was playing and I did enjoy. But at the same time I was like, it's not great. But it was kind of addictive after. I kind of got used to it, but I'm still a bit on the fence about it. I'm still not 100% sure. But the first one I absolutely adore. It's fantastic. First one I can play for hours and not get bored. So, money-wise, Darius 2 goes for around £30. I got it for $19.99, luckily, on eBay. Darius Gaiden, I bought the Japanese version because it was cheaper than the PAL one, for definite. I think I got this for about a tenner, I think, at the time. The other one was going for something ridiculous, like £40-50, I think, so I didn't bother buying the PAL one. I usually, if I can get around it and get a Japanese import for cheaper, that's what I do. But I'd recommend the first one. The second one, it's up to you. It's okay, but you've got that really restricted, like, camera view on it, and it's not a patch on the first one. So, Darius Gaiden, get it. For the Saturn, or something. Now we're on to the last game in my pile. Now, that did confuse me. I opened it and the disc isn't in there, but there's another disc in there, which I may as well do a talk around that one first. Because I don't think this has a case. I think this had a slip case, but I lost it a long time ago. I will definitely plug this one because this is a lot of fun and you still get it in the arcades around where I live, which is Sega, actually, is that going to focus? Sega Rally. Still a good game to this day, and it still holds up really well. The graphics are really nice and it's really cheap. A really good game to buy to get started on your Saturn, especially if you like arcade games, because I remember playing this loads with my friends. On school we'd have downtown passes and we'd come to the arcade and we'd play Sega Rally, or we'd play Daytona USA, but then Daytona USA kind of left and didn't come back and we was all pretty distraught, so we play Sega Rally instead. Sega Rally is still just as good, and I really like the mechanics of how different terrain affects the car. Really good for the time. It still stands up now and I recommend it, and it's cheap. It's such a good game. I cannot fault that game at all. I guess I could if I tried, but I can't. Now, the game I'm going to talk about was one of 5 final releases for the Sega Saturn. And I will admit that it's kind of buggy. There is a little bit of weird collision detection, but at the same time, if you can get by it, it's an excellent game. And it is Burning Rangers. Intergalactic Fireman, it's beautiful. Total 3D game, platformer, just putting out fires, really. And you've got like a really cool mech suit on. It was a game that I'd never played, ever. I had always read about it. My friends used to talk about it because my friend had it, but I never played it with him, and he always used to say how good it was. And it's from the Sonic team, so... So I was scouring on eBay, and I was thinking in my head, I need to get a copy of it. Now, it's quite expensive, so I was looking around for ages, and this one was on there for $9.99, and I was like, okay, it's probably not going to work, or the case is ruined. Nope, and it was one thing I wasn't so much fussed about, but at the same time it's kind of upsetting because it's not a complete copy. is it should have come with the soundtrack. I got it so cheap because they'd lost the soundtrack, but I have the game. The game is actually in my Saturn, hence why Sega Rally's in here, because Sega Rally doesn't have a case. And the soundtrack thing didn't really bother me, so for $9.99 for a pretty decent game, I wasn't going to complain. So you'd be lucky to get this for quite a good price, because I'm not sure if it's 100% rare, but obviously it's one of the last 5 titles for the Saturn, so I'm guessing it would come under that rare status. But if you can pick it up for a cheap price, definitely get it. That's why every time I speak about it, if you don't want to fork out the money for a Japanese Sega Saturn, like I did, just get an action replay card. It's £20, and then you can start getting import games and paying really low prices for them, because obviously the import games go for a lot less than the PAL ones or the NTSC ones. So definitely get yourself an action replay card. Start getting some imports because you can get them so cheap. And that brings me to the end of that. And I say it a lot, the Sega Saturn is definitely underrated. It is definitely a really good games console, and it has some fantastic games on it. So I could have done a few more games really, I suppose, like Clockwork Knight 1 and 2, they're both good games, good platformers. What else? Street Fighter Alpha was really good on it. Virtua Fighter 1 and 2. Why didn't I mention them? Why did I not think of them when I was making this video? Or should I say Virtua Fighter 2? Virtua Fighter 2 is amazing, and it's really cheap as well. Definitely pick up that game. Pandemonium, that's another good game. It's stupid now, I should have prepared for this video much better, then I would have had more games! But I didn't. But in hindsight, they're just some of my top picks for the Sega Saturn, and there's loads of great games on it. Like I just did, I've annoyed myself because I did not accumulate more for the video. Obviously there is a lot of shovelware on the Sega Saturn. I think there was a game I bought for £4 called Magic Carpet, where you literally flew around on a magic carpet. Just thought of another game I didn't include, Nights into Dreams. That game is beautiful, it's one of my favourite games ever made. I should have really prepared for this video, but I didn't. Damn it! Well, I've mentioned them, so that's okay. So, to round up the video, buy a Saturn, buy an action replay card, start getting yourself some awesome import games, and play them. That's all I have to say. And then, for now, remember to comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!
What could possibly go wrong?